Hello again, YouTube. It's Skylar. Welcome back to my face. Today, I want to talk about a topic that's a little more serious. Just yesterday, our president announced that he was going to ban transgender individuals from serving in the military. And this is a huge step backwards and in the wrong direction. And I'm going to go over a few points here to elaborate why this is such a devastating thing and why we should change it back to what it was as soon as possible. So, the first thing that I'd like to start off with is the fact that there are currently around 6,000 active duty members who are transgender, and logistically alone, removing those people would cause huge instability. Also, that it is morally and ethically wrong to discriminate against trans people in active duty as well, because they're fighting and dying for their freedom to exist as a trans person. And by denying them the right to fight for that freedom is the same as saying that they aren't welcome to exist. And that's a pretty horrible thing. There are not that many trans people in general in the world. There's just not. There's very few trans people. And the argument that's currently being made by the administration is that it's going to cost too much money. And I have a couple things that I have against that, because most trans people require different levels of care at different points in their life. And coupled with that, the fact that there's so few trans people in general, the financial burden on the U.S. military is so infinitesimally small that it doesn't even have a real impact at all. It's so negligible an amount of money that you have to go to the fourth or fifth decimal spot back percentage-wise. So it would be like 0.00001% of the military's budget. That's not an issue. That's not a problem. That's not something that needs to be corrected. As well as the fact that it's sending a message to the country that trans people aren't welcome. And that's a horrible thing, because for a president who campaigned on equal rights and protections for LGBT people and specifically trans people, it's very shocking to see this reversal of fortune from someone who claimed that they were, for equal protection under the law, which there is nothing about a trans person that would incapacitate their ability to serve openly in the military or affect their job in any way, shape, or form. Trans people can have mental illnesses too. But mental illnesses don't make someone trans, nor does it affect their ability to function. And there's literally no logical reason to suggest that a trans person is somehow less capable of performing a task than their cisgender counterpart. And that's been shown over and over and over again, year after year, study after study, that there is absolutely no distinguishable difference between cisgender people and transgender people when it comes to performing tasks and completing objectives. And it's just upsetting. It's upsetting for me as a trans woman, and it's upsetting in general as an American and as a human being, that we would espouse freedom and rights and liberty, but then decide to take those things away from people that are trying to defend those same rights. I'm not sure where this one goes. I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be, if it's going to stand or it will be taken down by the Supreme Court or whatever avenue that needs to occur, because you replace transgender with any other group of minority and you begin to see automatically how wrong that is. There's literally no excuse. It's purely a move of ignorance. And the sad thing is that some of our greatest veterans and national heroes are transgender. Some of them served before they transitioned, some of them served after they transitioned, and some of them served during their transition. All of which has no effect on their ability to perform their job to the best of their ability. And the key sticking point that I want to leave you guys with today is that if the argument is that medical services will cost more for someone that's transitioning, then why wouldn't you make the case that people that have already completed their transition and no longer require any more medical resources be allowed to serve in the military? Because if your argument is that it costs too much, then people that have already finished transitioning and then decide to join the military are still not allowed to join, despite there being no additional cost to the government. And that's where the line of fallacy falls into place, and you begin to see that this is purely a move of ignorance. Ignorance of trans people, fear of trans people, and there's certain groups of people who are either insecure with themselves or are just not accepting in general of anyone who see trans people, and it makes them feel uncomfortable, and they don't like that feeling, so they just want to get rid of the person that's making them feel uncomfortable. And that's really what it comes down to with something like this, is that I can't make accusations as to how the president feels and thinks emotionally, because I can't see inside his brain. But this is a move through which I stated the facts, and there's no excuse for anything other than bigotry as to why this occurred, especially because trans people had already obtained the right to serve in the military. They already fought and died for their country and fought for the right to serve. And they won that battle, and it was a done issue. No one was talking about trans people in the military. The president made it an issue again. Instead of focusing on topics and issues that matter to the American people, such as increasing the wage, jobs, making the economy better, improving safety standards for workers, all these different things, infrastructure spending, all the things that are real important to average American people, this is taking away time from being able to talk about those things or move forward with those projects. So there's really no upside to this in any way to anyone. The only people that this helps are the people that feel malice in their heart towards transgender people. And that's literally it. So, sorry, this is just a little emotional for me when I see us move backwards when we were already forward, and have to have the same argument that we did the first time to try to regain the rights that we had already gotten. So, just some food for thought today. And until tomorrow's video, or the next video, whenever, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all later. Bye.